Is the microphone working?
Does it seem ready?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you see me nodding my head?
Why do you keep replying my questions with questions?
Oh, aren't you doing the same?
You do know that's the topic of this video, right?
And you don't think I know that, right?
Do we need a hug, Freddie? Are you feeling got at?
Do I look like I need a hug?
Do you want me to start?
You think?
Today we're going to look at how it's sometimes wiser to reply questions with questions, just like we did a dozen times in a row. In Matthew 22, the Pharisees came to trap Jesus in his words. Their representative said, "Teacher, we know you're a man of integrity and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You aren't swayed by others because you pay no attention to who they are. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Caesar or not?" And did Jesus answer their question straight? No. Was Jesus scared of their judgment? No. He merely understood that it's sometimes wiser not to answer a question when you're in a hostile environment. You see, they used flattery to disarm Jesus, but he saw through it and called their bluff. "You hypocrites," he said. "Why are you trying to trap me?" To put it differently, Jesus understood that the question they asked wasn't the real question. The real question was maybe, "Hey Jesus, are you dumb enough to give us a straight answer to this question? Because if you are, we can get you in a whole lot of trouble." Now, regarding why the question was so difficult, it's because if Jesus said not to pay this tax to the Romans would kill him for that. But if he said to pay it, the image of the emperor was on the coin, and some Jews considered this a participation with idolatry. So it was a lose-lose situation. So Jesus firstly called their bluff, but then he continued to lead the conversation, but again using questions. "Whose face is on the coin?" he asked. "Caesar's," they replied. "Then give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." By asking a question, Jesus made them give the conclusion. And that was kind of smart, because they couldn't accuse Jesus of saying pay taxes to Caesar when they'd just said the same thing. But Jesus' final statement was also profound in its meaning. In fact, it's the kind of thing that you need the Spirit of God to give you wisdom to say. Because Jesus spoke here about the separation of church and state powers in an era in history when the religious and political powers were always together, not separate. Jesus' radical idea that they should be separated has therefore worked its way through history, through the efforts of those who followed him, to eventually bring about the kinds of political systems, freedoms and thinking that we have here today as New Zealanders, as well as throughout the Western world. So, Jesus saw the question behind the question. "Jesus, are you dumb enough to answer our question straight?" And because he responded wisely, well, he lived another day. You see, if audiences are hostile, we're sometimes wiser not to answer. And one technique for this is to reply a question with a question. And what this achieves, if it's a sensitive topic, maybe like sex out of marriage, prostitution, pornography, homosexuality, legalizing drugs, abortion or euthanasia in our culture, is that it stops you from being too easily misunderstood or misrepresented. For example, you say, "Great question. Out of interest, why do you ask?" Or, "Great question. What do you mean by that though?" Followed by, "Where'd you get that idea from? And have you ever thought about this?" I remember being asked a tricky question, to which I just laughed and said, "Do you really think we know each other well enough to have those kinds of conversations?" And that was sufficient to change the topic. Many times I've simply replied a question to say, "Wow, that's a difficult topic." And I've then engaged a conversation about why two different views might exist without ever stating my own view. Which is all to say, when you think you might be in a culturally hostile environment, there are skills that Jesus modeled here that we could apply. You see, the goal isn't just to win arguments, it's to win people. And winning people takes wisdom. So next time you're asked a tricky question, how about replying a question with a question? Because it's certainly something Jesus did.